A lot of questions on my last post about the DNC deciding that they were just gonna not release the 2024 autopsy report about why the Democrats lost, why Harris lost, and a lot of speculation as to why they're hiding this report. So I think that we should just go through the article, okay? This came out in the New York Times yesterday. So we're not going through the article literally word for word. We're just going to go through some highlights on it, but you should definitely read the entire thing. I was able to read the entire thing because for some reason last night, they didn't paywall it. And yes, I used to have a subscription to the New York Times, but I canceled it because the New York War Crimes is constantly doing apologia and genocide propaganda for Israel. Okay, so it says the DNC chairman, Ken Martin, has decided not to publish a report, believing that backward-looking document could be counterproductive to the party winning. Don't you just love how this kind of evasion of accountability only works on elites? Like, next time you get pulled over for speeding, tell the cop, thanks, officer, but I don't think you should ticket me because isn't that looking backward? No pun intended. The Democratic National Committee is killing an autopsy of the 2024 election. Like, it just pausing right there. The fact that anybody would find this acceptable is insane. I haven't actually even really seen anybody defending it besides Ken Martin, who's head of the DNC, who made this decision. But like, man, imagine defending this. Ken Martin, the chairman of the DNC, said on Thursday that he had decided not to publish the report that he ordered. Okay, so he ordered this months ago into what went wrong for the Democratic Party last year. Party officials have conducted more than 300 interviews with Democrats in all 50 states to create a document that Mr. Martin had once pitched as crucial for charting a path forward. So in this first paragraph, they let you know that they understood the importance of doing an autopsy like this. Because obviously we all fucking know intuitively, if you don't know why something went wrong, you can't fix it. You can't address it. And obviously they have the resources to do this. And it's not uncommon for a party to do an autopsy like this after they have their asses handed to them like the Democrats did in this last election. So of course, they were right to do an autopsy. They were right to use their resources to interview more than 300 people across 50 states to understand why did this happen? Why did Kamala Harris lose? Why did she lose every single swing state? Why did they lose so many Arab voters? Why did they lose so many men voters? Why did they lose so many Latino voters? Why did they lose so many young voters? These are very important questions to ask and have answered, especially since you will see Democrats, just like rank and file liberals and progressives and the left, constantly fighting today on what went wrong. I'm talking about how you see it in the comment sections constantly. You see it in the think pieces. This is why Kamala lost. Y'all made Kamala lose. This is why people stayed home. This is why people voted for Trump. All of these people are arguing about what went wrong. So don't you think it's pretty important if you have ever voted for a Democrat, whether you're a liberal, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're progressive, a leftist, or an independent who sometimes vote for Democrats? Don't you think it's important that we understand what happened, especially if your claim is that you care about beating the Republicans? If you actually give a fuck about beating Republicans and not just profiting off the over $1 billion that Kamala Harris's campaign lit on fire in this last election, if you actually care about beating the Republicans, don't you think this is a pretty vital document to understand? Mr. Martin will instead keep the findings under seal. He believes that looking back so publicly and painfully at the past would prove counterproductive for the party as it tries to next year take back power in Congress, according to the DNC spokeswoman who spoke on the condition of anonymity to share the thinking behind his decision. First of all, what is this bitch shit? Why don't you come out and say it yourself, Ken? Why are you hiding behind a woman who has to speak on the condition of anonymity because she knows how unpopular this is going to be? Like, I'm so sorry. You don't get to call yourself the party of democracy and then act in such wildly undemocratic ways. I know I can't say this for sure because we haven't seen the autopsy report, but you know what? I would bet that a lot of people didn't give a shit about your we're losing democracy because you guys don't fucking walk the walk. You guys constantly act. I'm talking about the Democratic Party, especially the National Democratic Party. You bitches will act undemocratic as fuck. and then turn around and go, Party of Democracy, vote for us, we're protecting democracy. Hey, you're not allowed to have a primary. Hey, you're not allowed to see what went wrong in the last election. Unserious. Also, he's full of shit because it was Ken Martin himself that commissioned this report and said in the beginning that it was vital to have this information in order to understand how to move forward. To do this, we're not looking back. Elites love to say that when they don't want to be held accountable. When it comes to you, your life, a poor person, there's always accountability for you. Your ass will go to jail. Your ass will get fired. But when it comes to elites ever being fucking held to account, it's always, we don't look backward. Literally, Obama did this. When people were upset that he bailed out the banks and didn't press charges against the war criminals from the Bush administration, he literally said, well, we're actually just moving forward. We don't want to go backwards. That is always what elites say. I'm going to try this on my bank next time my account gets overdrawn and see if they go for it. The problem with using that excuse here in this case is that you actually can't move forward unless you have this data. You actually cannot move forward until you truly understand the reason why the Democratic Party fucking lost to Trump for a second time. Like, just let that sink in what they're trying to gaslight you with. They don't want us to see this report because they're claiming by hiding it, it's going to help Democrats in the next election. How does that help? Don't you think that having people understand instead of just arguing in the dark, this is why she lost, this is why she lost, this is why Democrats lost with all these demographics. You don't think it's important to give us a solid document of data to have a better understanding of why that happened? Of why you lost to Donald fucking Trump for a second time? No. This is criminal level negligence, okay? The idea that you would hide this data from us when you bitches lost to Trump twice, it's diabolical. Everyone should be demanding it get released. Like, I'm literally begging Blue MAGA to have a spine for one moment. Okay? Like, it's amazing how they spit in your fucking face. You get mad at me for criticizing the Democratic Party and saying that you should hold your elected officials accountable. But then you let them spit in your fucking face and constantly disrespect you. Here's our North Star. Oh my gosh, shut the fuck up, Ken Martin. Does this help us win? Actually, yes, it would. It would actually help you win. Oh, they love this one. If the answer is no, well, the answer is yes. But if the answer is no, then it's a distraction from the core mission. They love that one. Oh, accountability, that's kind of a distraction, wouldn't you say? Also, Kamala Harris is planning on running again in 2028. Don't you think if she's going to run again, that we the people have a right to see what in her last campaign contributed to her loss? Don't you think we the people have a right to see what happened to that over $1 billion that they spent in less than 3 months? So not only is the Democratic Party not serious about reflecting at all on what went wrong, they don't even want you to. They don't even want the voters reflecting on it. The party's brand still appears to be deeply damaged in the eyes of many voters. A national poll from Quinnipiac University found this week that they have an 18% approval rating. 18%. Guys, last year, like shortly after Kamala Harris lost, it was 24. It's actually gone down since Trump got reelected. Imagine sucking so bad that all of this shit that's happened since Trump 2.0 started and the Democrats can't keep their approval even afloat. Like, that in itself is work. You have to want that. And I think that Democrats, what they weren't anticipating was that there are a lot of people who are liberals who are tired of their shit. A lot of Democratic voters who are tired of their shit. I think that they thought that this was going to be like 2017 or even 2020, where a lot of Democratic voters were so enraged by Trump and the Republicans that they allowed the Democrats to just get away with being fucking useless enablers because at least it wasn't Trump. But despite what paid Democratic influencers and operatives and politicians will tell you, there are a lot of people that are like, no, we're tired of this shit. Just saying Republican bad is not enough. What are you doing? And the answer is, they're not doing anything. In fact, they are regularly aiding and abetting the fascist Republicans in their agenda. In fact, not only are they aiding and abetting the fascist Republicans and helping them pass their fascist bills in Congress, they're paying their influencers to be attack dogs on behalf of the party when people on the left try to call them out and hold them accountable. And besides that, can anybody tell the class what the Democratic Party is actually running on in the 2026 midterms, besides vague notions of affordability and hoping that Trump and Republicans bad is enough? Because it looks like that's what they're running on. 18% of voters approved of how Democrats in Congress were doing their job, a record low, which I first saw yesterday from Harry Enton. He explains it this way.
About Democrats right now. Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
What these polling numbers show you, first of all, it's so embarrassing that Harry Enton was literally laughing because of how insanely bad the Democrats are performing. Lowest since it's ever been recorded, he said. And this is with Trump in office, you guys. This is with the fascists in office. That even with all the but Trump and but the Republicans and Project 2025, people are still seeing through it. Now, I know that a lot of liberals actually do live in a really delusional bubble. Like, they think that they're nailing it. They think it's still vote blue no matter who. All of those, like, paid propagandists you see that are always bootlicking to the Democratic Party, they even know a lot of the times that they're unpopular, but of course they're paid to say the opposite. But unfortunately, there are too many voters, like, in the Democratic Party that aren't the paid influencers that really believe them, that really believe the propaganda they're spewing about how, no, Democrats don't need to change anything. Democrats are loved. It's just the Republicans. No, boo, 60% underwater, the Democratic Party is with independents. Massive disapproval within people that even vote in the party, which I guess despite how terrible this is, it gives me a little hope that not everybody that votes for the Democrats is so delusional. That, like, there are liberals that actually understand what a fucking disaster this party is. So think about the context of how poorly the Democratic Party is polling, even in a Trump 2.0. And then think about the fact that they are hiding this autopsy report from you. It's actually fucking outrageous. And what it reveals is that they don't actually care about winning. This is about protecting elites, and this is about protecting the elite party from accountability. They don't actually care about winning. This is not the decision of a party that wants to win. This is not a decision of a party that cares about self-reflection or democracy. I am telling you, we are headed for a fucking iceberg. And the reason why I go so hard against the Democrats is because they are contributing to this. They are contributing to this. And they are trying to lull you in to this false sense of security. Like everything is just going to be okay because MAGA bad and Trump bad. But it's like, no, everything is not okay. And those people, the types of influences that are paid by the Democrats to attack me for pointing these things out and saying that you should hold your politicians accountable, they are also doing you a disservice because they are lying to you. They are not telling you what is actually happening. Since the day of his election in February, Mr. Martin had promised an audit of 2024's mistakes and a roadmap for the future. The DNC had warned, which again, keep in mind, the DNC, they are the elites that want to protect their own power. I warned over the summer that analysis of this report was premature. Folks might better holding their applause or any criticism until we've had a chance to complete our work and people can actually read it. Oh, okay, that's at least a reasonable ask. Like, okay, everybody just like hold your fire until we finish the autopsy report so we can analyze what went wrong and we're not just, looking only at exit polls. But wouldn't you know, there will be no reading the report because they're hiding it. Rising dissatisfaction with Mr. Trump and the economy could be a recipe for Democratic success in 2026, even if voters have misgivings about the party. Once again, this is what they're doing. They're literally pissing on your leg and telling you it's raining. They are saying, oh, actually, we don't really like what's in the report, so we're not going to tell you. We're just going to say Trump bad and look at what he's done to the economy. And you'll have to vote for us. What other choice do you have? Honestly, the fact that everyone doesn't hate them is amazing. Like, some of you guys are seriously in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party. Like, the way they just straight up abuse people, and then you guys will be out there defending your abuser. They're literally saying you're never gonna get the chance to read this report. We're just gonna go on vibes and say, like, hey, people are really unhappy with the Republicans. That should be enough. Mr. Martin appears determined not to step on any momentum. What momentum, bro? 18% approval rating. 18% approval rating! What is this horseshit statement? He's literally not... In our conversations with stakeholders from across the democratic ecosystem, we're aligned on what's important and that learning from the past and winning the future. You're not learning from the past. You're literally saying... We so badly don't want to learn from the past that we're not even going to let you guys read the report. Who are these stakeholders, by the way? Who did he talk to? All the rich billionaire donors at the top of the Democratic Party? Also, what does it say that he says we're aligned, not just on learning from the past, which Lamau, you're literally not learning from the past, but what's important to win on the future? How are you supposed to know that if you don't know what contributed to your loss? How are people supposed to know how to win the future if you won't tell them what lost them the past? It is actually super sus that they don't want to tell us why. Who in the Democratic Party and the elite ecosystem of the Democratic Party, what constituency might get hurt if this report comes out? No, guys, the party's in such disarray that they're having to take out loans. Some Democratic donors have demanded a more thorough accounting of how exactly the party and Miss Harris spent $1.5 billion in 15 weeks en route to losing every single battleground state in 2024. Yeah, I think that people have a right to know that. Since the election, it has come out that a former top aide to Mr. Biden, Mike Donnellan, received $4 million from the campaign, even though he did not work meaningfully with the Harris campaign after Mr. Biden left the ticket. Amazing. The grift and graft within the Democratic Party is incredible. I fucking told you guys right after Harris lost, I said, unless and until you guys confront the grifting of the Democratic Party at the highest levels, the consultant class, the advisor class, that nothing was going to change. Because as I just said, and I said it when calling out all those Democratic hack influencers that have been attacking me recently, they make a fuck ton of money regardless of whether or not the Democratic Party wins or loses. This is what I'm talking about when I say these grifters profit even if the Democrats lose. So a lot of people, understandably, rightfully so, are speculating, why are they hiding this? It doesn't make any logical sense if you care about beating the Republicans or moving forward or learning lessons or anything. Like, intuitively, people know this doesn't make any fucking sense. So why? Well, as some people have been reporting, according to a DNC official, again, anonymously speaking, they're sitting on its long-awaited 2024 report to protect key elites and politicians whose decisions helped Trump win. And you know this is why. This, of course, is why. Why else would they hide it? They want to hide it because there were decisions that were made by key elites and the politicians themselves that directly contributed to her loss and directly contributed to Trump's win. And if people found that out, they might hold them accountable. And the Democratic Party is not interested in accountability. If they release this report, how are they going to still blame Maya? How are they going to send people online to just bully random people on TikTok and say it's their fault? Now, obviously, all we can really do is speculate and go off publicly available data that we have from exit polling, since they are hiding this from us. But my guess would be, if they could blame it on the Palestinians, they would have no problem releasing it. I have to believe that it's really bad for some key elites and politicians, and that Israel probably has a lot to do with it. Because do you think if they could blame it on the left or even Jill Stein or third-party voters, that they wouldn't? Just consider that for a moment, especially since we know how much the Democratic Party hates the left. Don't you think if they could blame the left or third-party voters or Gaza, that they wouldn't have released that shit in a second? That's my suspicion. But again, we don't know because the party of democracy is saying that we can't see it. Everyone should be demanding that they release this report. Unredacted, everything. We need transparency because you don't get to call yourself the party of democracy and pretend to be on a crusade for transparency when it comes to Trump and the Epstein files, and then turn around and spit in the face of your own voters and say you don't deserve transparency when it comes to us. Say that the Democratic Party hates you and has no respect for you. This is what I'm talking about.